yes, proper football's back. The international break is now over, and it doesn't get any bigger for QPR because winless Pompey are in town. It's QPR against Portsmouth in the first 6-pointer of this season. Welcome to our Rangers Walk. We're going to preview that game, and we're also going to get this team's predictions on where QPR will finish. Welcome. All right then, Jawad. 3 points this weekend against Portsmouth. It has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think already it's looking like a game that if we don't win, then the pressure on Marty is going to be immense. Even though he's just signed a new contract, I think 4 defeats in a row in this league, especially against a team that's at the bottom right now. I think, can't underestimate how big this is for the club.
I mean, Charlie, in some ways, you want games like this. You want home games, of course, against teams right at the bottom. But Portsmouth were to go 1-0 up in the first half. That's going to do something to the atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, I could see it getting pretty toxic if we go down by a goal. It's got a horrible feeling that it's just like it just feels like we're being managed by Ainsworth again, and it just like really kind of gross. It's bad, and I don't know what's going to happen. I honestly have no idea what's going to happen. It's very unpredictable one. This.
All right, let's have a look at the team that started then against Derby. Let me just get that badge out of Michael's face. All right, Michael, if you were in charge then, what changes need to be made? Last week we talked a lot about Anderson and Madsen in that midfield and people wanting to see them there, but can you change it? And if so, what would you do?
Yeah, I'd get rid of Anderson and put in Chair. That would be the first thing I'd do. I would say our defence, if Clark Salt is ready, get him back in, or Morgan Fox, just a left-footed defender to go next to Cook would work well. And also, I'd maybe give Seller a run out. I mean, Frey's hitting a bit of a dry spell. And I don't know, I feel like we haven't got anything to lose up front, so why not?
Okay. Jawad, what do you reckon? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think getting Cole back and Clark Salter back in as soon as possible is key. I think Chair's now had a 15-minute cameo and a half-hour cameo against Derby, so I would have thought he'll start, possibly give him an hour against Derby. As soon as he came on, he tried to make things happen. And I also think Dunn as centre-back weakens the whole back four. I think he's better right back now. The two that we've got at right back, Santos and Ashby, haven't looked anywhere near good enough. And I think it's been a little bit unfortunate that Liam Morrison's been injured at the same time as Clark Salter, because I think he would have slotted in quite nicely. So you're looking at least 3 changes from that team, possibly 4 if everyone's fit. If they're not fit, then I fear for us.
Charlie?
I think I'd like to see Lloyd back in the team. I think after he scored against Sheffield Wednesday, he was playing with a bit more confidence, and I thought he was actually probably one of our better players. But I know it was like Cifuentes played him a lot more at the start of the season when he wasn't great, and they scored against Sheffield Wednesday, and he looked quite good. And now he's not playing him, so I don't know why. I don't know why that's the case. I'd like to see him come back in the team, and obviously, hopefully get Chair back to match fitness and inject that little bit of quality in the final third that we've been missing.
Okay. Well, Portsmouth are no good either. Their back four has been leaking goals, and they can't score either. So this is either going to be 0-0 or this is going to be 4-4. Hopefully for you guys, it's full of goals in your favour. But let's have a look at the fixtures for you guys coming up, shall we? In this next little run that we have until the next break. And when you look at them, I do fear for you guys a little bit, because you've got Coventry, Burnley, Sunderland, Middlesbrough, and Leeds after this Pompey game. So, Michael, does that not make this 3 points even the more crucial? Because potentially we could be looking at a pointless October, if not.
Yeah, I mean, Portsmouth haven't won all season, have they? So I've got a feeling we're going to lose 1-0 against them and then go and beat Burnley 1-0 at Turf Moor. So, but yeah, it's an important game, and we can't leave without the 3 points. It's a must win game for us.
Jawad, do you look at that fixture list and think, roll on Christmas?
Yeah, it is looking a little bit concerning. Those 2 home games at the beginning look huge, don't they? Coventry haven't started well. Only won 2 games, I think. Lost 5 games. So it looks like probably a minimum of 4 points in those 2 games are going to be crucial, because the way that we're playing, those other fixtures look like they're going to be tough. Our record against Sunderland at home, I think, is pretty dreadful, to be honest. So yeah, I don't think you can overestimate how big those 2 home games are.
Okay. After this game, Charlie, it is 10 games played, and you know what that means? It means that people say, wait till we play 10 games and then we can make a prediction. So I know we asked you right at the very start of the season for a prediction, but we're coming back to you again now. Where will QPR finish based on what you've seen so far?
Yeah, well, I said at the start of the season, like 16th, I think, and I thought I was being like playing it safe, don't get my hopes up, be pessimistic. Turns out that's very optimistic, actually, and we're going to finish nowhere near 16th. I reckon, you know what, I'll take 21st. Just keep me in this division, please.
Would you take 21st? Would you take 21st now if I could offer it you?
Yeah, 100%. 100%
Okay.
I would.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm with Charlie. It's hard to be positive from what I've seen so far. If our defence doesn't improve, we have to outscore the opponent, which is never good when you've got no strikers. So, yeah, I'll take 21st.
Jawad?
Yeah, I probably wasn't as optimistic as other QPR fans were. I think when you've been fighting relegation for 2 seasons, you're not suddenly going to become a playoff chasing team. And I think if we stay up again, I think great. But I think sometimes it catches up with you, and I'm just not sure about these new signings and if they're ever going to prove to be good enough at this level. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But sometimes it just teams like Reading fought it year after year and survived just about, and eventually it does catch up with you. So I hope I'm wrong, but I'm a little bit fearful.
I'll bring on the relegation dogfight. I love it. Last year was probably the most fun I've had. We were in the bottom 3 for like most of the season. So.
I think we play Leeds at home quite late in the season, so let's just beat them 4-0 again and stay up.
There we go. Yeah, that's right. You're the reason Leeds are still in this division, aren't you, QPR? Right. Okay. Well, put your predictions in the comments. Let's see what you think. Where will QPR finish this season? Good luck against Pompey. We'll see, of course, you all back here next week when we'll review that game and also then look ahead, of course, to the next one, which I think is Burnley, isn't it? We'll see you all. See you all then. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Jared. And thank you for watching. Do like and subscribe.
Thanks.
Cheers, all of you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
So we've gone on a bit longer. Welcome back to our whole podcast. Naivety, absolute stupidity, some people are saying. Playing such a high line against Norwich away. He'll learn and he'll learn quick, other fans say. But Ben says, this is the issue that I've got with our manager and his style. We will win a few games against low opposition, but when we come across a side that's top half, we are shocking. And that has to be tightened up quickly. It's not heart attack play, it's naive play. Well, we're going to find out what our podcasters think about that in particular. We've got Jack, Ben, and Matty on the quickest Hull City review you'll find across the internet. Welcome to Where Tigers Walk. Drop us a subscribe, drop us a like, and let's talk more about Volta-Ball. All right, I'm beginning to suss out Hull City a bit now. I've watched the QPR game and I watched you against Norwich, so I've got it sus now, I think. But Matty, let's kick off with you this week. Is it stupidity, naivety, or bravery that we're seeing tactically from your manager in these games?
It's probably a bit of everything, I think, at the moment. But is it stubbornness as well? Is there a bit of stubbornness thrown in there as well? I think probably keep going with the same format, keep going with the same idea, and we're going to get undone by a lot of the bigger teams. I think, with the 3 games we've lost against the better teams, they've figured out a way to do it. There is a lot of naivety in the defending. I mean, that's another short corner that we've conceded from. So, there is that there. He is brave. Second half, he did go for it. He changed it around a little bit. We did look quite good at the beginning of the second half, but then the defending at the end was awful. So, it's probably a combination of all 3 there, Mark, I think. So, yeah.
All right, we are going to be chatting that Norwich game. We'll also look at the best of social media takes from the game. We'll talk about home game atmospheres because we're hearing that the Championship is getting a little bit dull at the moment. We can't disagree with it here. It's certainly not dull at Hull City. And what's the earliest you've ever left a Hull City game? We're going to be asking Jack, Matty and Ben that at the end as well. Jack, you wrote a quite damning report on this game at Norwich. Scathing, I would go far to say as well. You weren't a happy man.
No, I think after 3 great wins on the bounce, you need to be quantified with a good win against a good team. But like you said at the start, playing against better opposition, someone around the same place as you can't play like that and expect to win. We're far too open. Norwich are a quality side with some good players. They had the ball forward quickly. We couldn't cope, and that's why we got beat 4-0.
Jack, was the only positive that it wasn't 7 because there was the Sargent penalty. There were 2 misses. It could have been 8. I think the Norwich fans were saying. Do you have to? I mean, had it been 8, would we be questioning the manager more?
Yeah, I'd be a little bit more worried. I mean, Pandor made some excellent saves, and even the first minute when Sainz was on, chipped him, and he got a good hand to it, and he made a couple more good saves. So yeah, it could have been more. We could have scored one, but it blatantly put it in with his arm. So that just sums up our afternoon.
All right, Ben, give it to us. Both barrels. QPR away, you looked good in patches and came away with 3 points. Then he did the same thing against Norwich and got absolutely spanked. Is he going to learn lessons, or are we going to see a stubborn German?
I think the latter, to be honest. A lot of the time it seems like very naive the way that we play. The game against QPR in spells we were good. Obviously we won, but like the guys have said, we just got completely found out against the better sides. Like Matty said, the 3 losses we've had have all been against top 6 sides, the teams you'd expect to see up there at the end of the season. So yeah, it's confusing at the minute because we have a good run and then all of a sudden we just don't really wake up in time for the kickoff, and a shame to go into the international break on quite a heavy downer, to be honest.
Let's have a look at some of the takes. I like this from Dan, so thanks for this, Dan. Dan says, we are going to get a few results like that this season. We won't be the only side who gets turned over by Norwich. It looks like we've got the seeds of a decent defence. If we give Hughes some minutes, I still think our best starting back 4 is Giles, Drama, Jones and Coyle. Matty, would you agree with Dan?
And I think this is the dream we've been sold, isn't it? That we're going more attacking and we're going to have more attacking games, but we didn't take our chances Saturday. So I think this is going to be pretty much our season. We are going to get some spankings, but then we're going we're probably going to spank some teams as well. So I think that is probably a true reflection. I would just like him to. I'd just like him to maybe just change it from we are playing those better teams. I think in the QPR game when Zambrano came on with Simons in there, it firmed it up a bit more, and we didn't look as bad as well. We just didn't have all that space in the middle of the midfield. It's just like it's far too open. I'm not sure at the back four. He's got drama at centre back. I'm not sure about that. Hughes is unlucky. Debut comes on 2-0 down. Yeah, he made 2 mistakes, but I think he was unlucky. And we've got to give the lad a chance. I think he will come good. I think he did look. He was picking up the positions that McLaughlin were doing. I think he will be good. He will come good. So, yeah, I think that's a true reflection. I think we are going to be there. I think we're going to. Yeah, exciting. Isn't this what we want? We wanted Walter Ball, didn't we? So this is what we wanted. But just not spank 4-0. 4-3 better.
Ben, we'll come to Hughes first. Matty was very kind there, but Adam wasn't so kind. He said Hughes was the worst debut I think I've ever seen. Can you remember a worse debut for a whole player?
Well, I mean, I think it's a bit unfair to slam him so much, considering it's his first minutes in a while. Obviously, he's come back from that appendix operation, but I don't think. I think people have got their standards far too high. The pressure that has been sort of put onto him, even when he wasn't starting, it was like the back four has to be, including him, not McLaughlin. So he's got a lot to live up to, and obviously it's his first minutes in the Championship for quite a while. I can't remember if he had played in the Championship previously or not, but yeah, and he's still 20. He's got a lot of time ahead of him. But yeah, as for a worse debut, I can't remember anyone making clangers quite like it. But yeah, I think we've just got to give him a chance, like we have with the manager.
All right, Jack. Some quick yes/no ones here, if we don't mind. Beard is full of issues. First of all, Walter made no difference with his subs. Agree? Yes or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say yeah for that one.
Too easy for Norwich in midfield. Melem just isn't cutting it. Yes or no?
Yes again.
Zambrano needs some quality alongside him.
Yeah, to some extent. Yeah.
Slater was awful.
No, I don't think he's that bad. I think it's just again he needs the players around him to just solidify his style of play.
And Giles was totally disinterested.
I say it every weekend. I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah, you have. I think you almost. I thought of you when I read this. And teams don't win. The team doesn't win any 50-50 challenges.
No, exactly. It just feels like every single tackle we go in for, it always lands to the opposition. Like just look at Zambrano's touch for the first opportunity in the Norwich game. It just didn't go his way, and we got mustered off the ball and off the go.
Okay. The results against Cardiff and QPR and Stoke then. Should we not read too much into those, Matty? Or is this the level that Hull are at now? You're just a solid mid-table side that will beat the teams that you should beat and you'll lose the teams that you should lose to. And, this is 12th place and that we shouldn't expect any more.
Yeah, and I think that, and I think we kind of predicted this at the beginning of the season. I think we'll still finish mid-table. I think we're miles better than those 3 teams that we've played already. QPR was a bit of a, but we rode our luck, but we had the quality in the end that did that. And we're still early days. We're what we're in 8-9 games into the season. 9 games into the season, we're still finding our feet with how we want to play and stuff like that. Yeah, we've had some good results. We've had some shocking results. But there's 3 teams we've lost to are the top 6. There are better teams than us. Norwich have been established. Their squad's been established. The majority of that is from last season. And they got into the playoffs. They've just altered it a little bit with how their manager is. But, that's a settled squad. Give us another month, 2 months, 3 months. I still think we'll be pushing the top half of the table. I think we'll be absolutely fine. I don't see us in a relegation battle at all. Now, I think we will pick up. We will always go attacking, and we'll always pick up some points against those lesser teams.
I can hear the keyboard warriors even now, Matty, listening to that, typing. Well, we had a manager that was also pushing us for the playoffs the same time last season. We got rid of him.
True, but then that's the owner. The owner wanted to play more attacking football, and I'm sure Ben and Jack will agree. The football last year wasn't entertaining at home. Our home record wasn't good. You go to games and it was dull, and we drew a lot of games at home. So, what our fan base, they're one extreme or the other. They're either oh, we love it or we don't love it. We've got kind of no middle ground. And it's just like, you can't please everybody. You just got to give him time. I think he will get it right, and we've got some good players. So, yeah, right. It's a progress. It's progress.
Okay. All right. There's lots of articles about championship attendances and atmospheres at games. Then we've spoken to Leeds, Sheffield United, and Sunderland across our channels, and all of them are struggling with atmospheres at the big grounds. Hull, as a ground, as an away fan, having travelled there as an Everton fan many times, has always had a cracking atmosphere. It's always one of my favourite away games to do. How's it been this season, Ben, so far when you've been there? Are you lacking something at the moment?
Yeah. It was, to some extent, kind of the similar situation last season. It was a bit of like, I think everyone was really tense last season, so they didn't really want to get too excited for the games. This season, it's not like bouncing like you'd want it for a home atmosphere. You'd want the away team to come in and think, "Oh Jesus, we're in for one here." But yeah, I don't know what you can really change to make the atmosphere louder or a bit more intense. I mean, the manager suggested goal music after the goals, which is a questionable one. But obviously, we heard Norwich's 4 times, which wasn't pleasant. But yeah, I suppose that could be a factor. It's not something I'd personally want, but things like that might improve it. I don't know. It's not like a cauldron where you come in and you're just scared of what's going to happen to you.
Okay. Yes, Jack, against Millwall, you could have heard a pin drop, I think, through the whole game. I know these 12:30 kickoffs are being blamed a lot for some of these atmospheres as well. They're never good, and people haven't really woken up by the time they get to the ground. Jack, how would you sort this out? Don't say put a drum and a marching band in there.
Oh no, you ruined my idea. No, I'm joking. I mean, I think it's down to the players on the pitch to make the energy around the stadium like high. If they're playing good football, the fans respond. If they're playing not good football, they're quiet. I mean, Cardiff, when we scored, it was good atmosphere. I think it was Walter who thanked us for it and said it was good. And again, against QPR. So when we're winning, when we're playing well, the atmosphere will go up, and I just hope we have more of those games like we did against Cardiff.
Okay. All right, then. The final one this week then is, what's the earliest you've ever left a game at? Drop it in the comments below. Matty, what's the earliest you've ever left a Hull game?
I have to admit that when we played Brentford, the last game of the season away, I left at half-time because they didn't serve beer in the ground to away fans. I was absolutely fuming. So I think it was a nothing game on it anyway, and it was 1-1. But I was like, well, I'm really sorry, lads. I've come down to London. I need a beer. So, so half time. Sorry, boys. But it was needs must. Must.
You young'uns have made a sterner stuff. I bet you've never left at half time, Ben, have you?
No, not half time. To be honest, I don't think I've ever really left early. I think the earliest is probably maybe like 5 minutes before, just to try and beat the swarm going across that bridge. That godforsaken bridge outside. But yeah, not even when we've been battered, you've got to just stick around and clap the players off. At least you get something out of it. You get a bit of a reward for making the effort to actually go, I suppose.
All right. What about you, Jack? I bet you've stayed till minute 90, haven't you?
Yeah, I've never left early because if I have to get a picture of the final score for my blog anyway, but that's not the
you're a
excuse.
journalist, of course.
You got to clap the players. You got to acknowledge you tried, and you go home.
All right. Thank you very much for that. What our Sunderland fan we spoke to left on 26 minutes when they went 3-0 down to Swansea away a couple of years ago. So 26 is our record to beat. Can you beat that? Drop it in the comments below. Right. We will see you then next week. When, of course, who have we got next week? Remind me. Help me out. Sunderland. Of course it is. Yes, Sunderland. And we will talk all things Black Cats against Tigers in a week's time. Thank you very much for watching and joining. Drop us a subscribe, drop us a like. We'll see you after the international break. Oh, yes, international football's over. Proper football is back this week. And oh, yes, international football is over. We've got proper football back this weekend as Hull take on Sunderland. We've got our 3 Tigers lined up and ready to talk all things Hull Sunderland. And we're also asking, it's 10 games in now, just exactly do they think where Hull will finish this season? And also, who's going to win the thing as well? Welcome to the quickest and most comprehensive review of all things Hull City on the internet. This is where Tigers walk. Well, we'll see who's getting mauled this weekend. Welcome back, Ben, Matty, and Jack. It's nice to have proper football back, isn't it? But, Ben, are you slightly concerned this weekend? Top of the table are in town.
Yeah, definitely. They've been a force to be reckoned with so far this season, so it'll be interesting to see how we go. They're going to be a challenge, that is for sure.
Yeah, intercontinental battle, this French against the German side. Matty, which way do you see it going?
I think we have to kind of adapt. I think this game. If we don't adapt, I can't see us winning. I can't. If we play that we did against Norwich and we are so open, the form that Sunderland are in, they'll just rip us apart. So I still want to be optimistic, and I still think we'll create chances and we'll get forward and we'll hopefully get a couple of goals, but we can't continue to be open against the better teams and expect to win. So I'm hoping that it adapts it slightly, so we've got at least a better chance of staying in the game for longer. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game, tough ask.
Let's have a look, Jack, at the team that started then against Norwich, and you can guide us through what you would change. First of all, in terms of formation and personnel, what would you expect to see this weekend?
I think the traditional 4-3-3 will be in place again. I don't think the back line will be changed because Hughes didn't really shine, so I think it will be his time to have a full debut. I'd like to see Kamara have a start instead of Malem, see what that brings. I mean, Palmer's a creative-minded player. He brings some energy to the team. But you can't replace Balumi. You can't get rid of Miller. Slater's been quality. The only problem probably who had changed is Zambrano. And other than that, I think it's a strong lineup, probably our strongest lineup against Sunderland.
Okay, Matty, what do you agree with or disagree with there?
I just like us to shore up that centre midfield. I think. So I agree. I think Malem's probably the one that I would probably take out. Me personally, I don't want us to go totally defensive, but I'd rather bring in Simons and just shore it up a little bit in that midfield, because I think that's what we need. We get far too exposed in the centre of midfield when we're attacking. Apart from that, yeah, I wouldn't change much. I'd keep it the same. Baloomi's growing. He's getting better every week. Miller's been outstanding. be interesting to see what Pedro could do, but he's probably better coming off the bench. So, yeah, keep it as it is. Just maybe one or two changes in midfield.
Okay. Ben, you having all that?
Yeah, I think I agree. I could only really see a couple of changes being made. I know the manager likes to play Malin because obviously he's German pals with him. But yeah, I think that lineup there on screen is a strong one, to be honest. But as Matty said, the midfield is it has to be adapted. It's got to be shored up in some way or other because it's just such a weak aspect of our game.
Okay. I want to ask you all about your fixtures then. We are now we're heading to our final international break, which will happen after Remembrance Weekend against West Brom. And in this 6 little mini game section here, you've got 4 of the 6 at home, and they are against Sunderland, Burnley, and West Brom, with Portsmouth stuck in the middle there. So, I mean, Ben, this is a bit of a tough run for you, isn't it? This next little block of games. Plus, in addition to that, you're going to go to Derby, who haven't lost at home yet, and you also go to Oxford United, who, guess what? They haven't lost at home yet either.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. When you look at it on paper, you think, 3 wins easy against the bottom or the newly promoted sides, because I know Oxford and Derby are doing all right. And then obviously 3 from the top 6, which you'll imagine will probably be there at the end of the season. But like you said, Derby, I don't think have lost at home since last March, or they might have lost one. I think the one against Norwich where they got robbed of a couple of decisions, but we won't go into that. Yeah, it is a tricky one because they're going to be up for it because obviously they're new into the division. They'll want points on the board, including Portsmouth, because we'll see how they go in the game after the international break against QPR. But yeah, I think we've got a minimum 9 points, I'd say, from that is like the bare minimum. Anything more is promising. I don't see us getting 6 wins out of 6. But yeah, 9 is the bare minimum.
Okay. Matty, when the fixture list came out and you saw that little run of Derby, Portsmouth and Oxford all one after each other, you must have thought, oh, here's a little run of games where we could max out. As the season's progressed, though, it's not as easy as perhaps as it looked in August, is it?
No, perhaps not. But, I think these records are there to be broken, aren't they, Max? So, why not it be us that goes and breaks these records? No, I think this will probably be the making of. I think at the end of this month, I think we'll probably see where we at, where we will be a true reflection of where we will be at the season. But I don't look at them and fear any of those games that we're against. I think, if we click and we get it right, I think we'll give all 6 of those teams a really good game. I think. Okay. I'm optimistic. I'm trying to be optimistic, Mark. But we're not going to have another 4-0. We're not going to have another 4-0 this month. Or maybe 4-0 to us. Sorry, not to.
How many of you planning to travel to Oxford on a bonfire night midweek evening game?
No, probably not. I might go to Derby.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, then. Finally, then this week, where will Hull finish? And of course, we're asking you this because we're now 10 games, or it will be 10 games into the season. And that's the number people just magically pick out and say, well, we're allowed to make predictions after we've seen where we're after 10 games. So, okay, Jack, where will Hull City finish this season?
I'm going to go 13th, which is higher than what I predicted at the start. I don't think we're going to be as good as we think we are, but we're not going to be as bad as we thought we would be. So,
okay,
middle of the table.
Yeah, you're the third team that have said 13th. So,